Hello everyone, my name is Ana Campos, and for my project I chose to talk about the Super Smash Bros. Melee community. So Super Smash Bros. Is a video game that was released in 2001 that consists of popular characters fighting. So soon after humble beginnings, a loosely organized network of fans that were unpaid and unsupported formed together. So battles evolved from small tournaments with 10 players in basements to massive events with more than 100,000 Twitch viewers. Twitch is a platform where people could go and stream their games. This was held at various venues, one of which was the Paramount Theater in Oakland, California. Smash Bros. Stands out among fighting games since Nintendo, which is a creator, hardly ever made an attempt to support the development of its competitive scene. The Smash Bros. Community mostly accomplished this on its own, while other games have had more advertising and announced leagues and events. So for this project, I interviewed, and the interview will come up right now. I have a member from the Smash Bros. Melee community here with me today. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Robert Mesqua. I go by Bob Turbo in the Smash Brothers community and here to answer a few questions.
Okay, so what pulled you into the Smash Bros. Community?
Around the time I was like 6 years old in 2005, I got a GameCube and I had just gotten this brand new game, Super Smash Bros. Melee, and as soon as I turned it on, it was just love at first sight.
So you mentioned the GameCube. Is that the only console that can be used to play the game, or is there more?
Yeah, it's the only one. It's exclusive.
What character is your go-to, and how does their logo stick out?
Personal favorite's always been Captain Falcon, just very strong, versatile character.
What part of their logo sticks out to you?
Their logo actually is from an old fighting game, or actually old racing game, sorry about that. It's F-Zero, so it has like a lightning and a car and a helmet. It's pretty cool.
How do different characters affect your playstyle?
Different characters are like, some are more floaty characters, some are like faster paced, some are more slower with hard hitting, Each one you just have to have a different playstyle coming into it, just like you do in everything else, just competition wise.
When you think of Smash Bros., what is the first thing that pops into your head?
I think sandbox. I think of the sandbox, just the way that you could do anything. And it's not restricted to like patterns or anything. It's just any way it can go, it goes.
Would you like to go into more detail about what sandbox is?
Yeah, actually. Usually in fighting games, it's just known as certain patterns keep happening, and it's just how to kind of defend against those patterns and parry or whatever. But in Smash Bros, it's always been what's more optimal, with whether it be certain attacks, certain spacing, getting away from somebody, or like whatever. It's just infinite possibilities of how to play.
What makes Smash Bros. Melee more than just a video game and an actual community?
Well, since the time it came out, from the beginning, it's always just been a bunch of people that just love this game, and they just decided, what we like is just that these are our friends and we could just play video games with them all the time. So why not just find out who's the best at it and play for money while we're at it,
What qualities make you so proud of being a part of this community?
The things we can accomplish, doing charity streams, having professionals go and play against, amateurs like myself, and just absolutely just destroying us, but gaining money for charities in the process.
Since there are multiple communities regarding one game, how can you tell the difference between them?
So it's like a series of games, and it's like, the first one for the 64, the second one for the GameCube, each one coming out at different points in time, and it's just like 4 or 5 games at this point, 5 games I think. So it's kind of wild that each one has its own mechanics that everybody just gravitated towards a certain play style.
Why is this one your favorite?
The complexity. I guess it's just so much still left to be played.
Who is someone that you look up to the community and why?
It's got to be the kid. His name is, he goes by Mango. His name is Joseph Marquez. Just probably the best player to ever do it.
Can you tell us what character he used?
He uses Fox and Falco. He started off with Jigglypuff, but he has him actually tattooed on his shoulders, on his delts.
Where do you think the community is going?
I think it's actually staying strong. It's been strong for about 21 years, so the fact that it's still around for as long as it's been without dying out actually should say something for itself. So probably just keep being as big as it is, and if not bigger.
How does non-print literacy help you play the game?
I think of it as the same way like a fighter goes into a match. You know, there's some things that you can read off of people, just like the way they move, the way they act, and like everybody's a little bit different, so you could see that and you could read a person by the way that they are, you know. So that's the way I go about it. So like, I guess I just like to see people like a game of chess and read it that way.
Is there any symbols that help you through the process of playing?
I guess frame by frame there would be. If I just, when I'm locked in, everything kind of just slows down, so I guess that's what I would go for. Just little movements that I read.
What about the symbols on the controls?
Oh yeah, like the buttons and the patterns that we would use. I mean, the things that we use in order to move the way we do, absolutely. That's always helpful.
Do any of them like come to your head when you think about the game? Like I know Xbox has like the X, the Y, the O.
Not specifically. Just love a B button.
What keeps you involved in this community?
It's definitely got to be just the pride they take in it. Everybody's just happy to be there and wants to be there, you know.
Okay. That should be all for this interview. Thank you, Robert, for helping us answering these questions.
Thanks so much for having me.
So, because this is a video game, there are many symbols that go along with it. For example, this is the logo to the Super Smash Bros. Melee. Seeing this logo signifies the whole game. This logo is the streaming platform. So when people see this, they know that it's going to be on Twitch. These are the symbols behind the characters with their faces and their names under them. And these just show their basic logos with no name. They just know them by looking at the image. Since each button is different, I believe this helps memorize what each one does and ultimately just helps you play the game better. So my understanding of literacy has evolved during the first weeks of this class by showing me the many types of ways it is possible to communicate with students and how to best accommodate to them. For example, reading the article about Motocross Joe, his teacher uses materials that involved his bike to give him better understandings. So reading this article made me realize that by using stuff that your students are interested in, it just makes the learning for them so much, easier, funner, and just overall more interesting, instead of just them being not excited to learn. So my philosophy for teaching literacy in early childhood classrooms is doing my best to keep it as simple and interesting as I can so the students get a good grasp on it. An example of an activity I could do is having my students do a type of matching game between naming like the object with the name of the object. Since I'm planning on teaching like around kindergarten, first grade, I feel like that would be a good activity. So they could start like memorizing the symbols with names. So that is all for my presentation, and thank you for watching.